you,
It sounds like it was
Malcolm?
on a different.
I exhale with one technique and then inhale with the next.
Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about breathing a little bit, and then we're going to come back to the forms, and we're going to apply it. So what causes you to breathe is not oxygen. You still have plenty of oxygen in your lungs. If I put you in a chokehold, an air chokehold, you don't pass out because you're not getting oxygen. You pass out because you're having a buildup of CO2. And that is what the emphasis is to breathe. That's what makes people breathe. When people breathe, and I have this handy dandy chart. Oh, I had it.
You drew that on the glass at River Valley.
Right. So anyway, so this is what the breathing is like. So regular breathing is, at this point here is where you're relaxed. You're just standing there relaxed. And then you take a breath and then you exhale. And you take another breath and you exhale. And you take another breath and you exhale. As a general rule, you will, at rest, always breathe about that much, whatever that is. That's in an average person, that's about 500 milliliters. And this is where you will relax at the point where you stop breathing and have that little pause, and then you start breathing again. And that's very consistent in your anatomy. What happens is during inspiration, your diaphragm contracts, your rib cage expands, and all the accessory muscles expand, which increases the amount of volume in your lungs. Everything's tight, everything's contracted. When you get to the top of that curve, you relax, and everything relaxes. Your diaphragm relaxes, your ribs relax, your accessory muscles, and everything falls back down to the starting point. If you do that, breathe that way while you're doing martial arts, there's always going to be this part where your body relaxes. And you've been forever, however old you are, you've been doing this for that number of years. So your body will naturally relax. There's not really much you can do about it if you're breathing this way. So you do the strike, and then as you breathe, and then you relax, and as you're rechambering and going to the next one, you don't have that cage anymore that muscle contraction gives you. You know, if you're going to get struck, you'd rather get struck with you ready to receive the strike with your muscles flexed than completely relaxed. That power is going to go right through your layer of muscles down to the lower tissue. So that's the normal breathing pattern. You got two things you can do. You can take a big breath, like this is normal breathing. And when you get ready to blow out your birthday cake, you go and take a big breath in and blow out. When you take a big breath in, you get about 2,500 liters. This was 500. This goes way up there. You can get about 2 more liters in there when you take a great big breath and completely fill up your lungs. Then you can go the other way, is you can do what's called reverse breathing. So I'm doing a regular breath, come down here, regular breath. I get to reverse breathing, and this is normally where I take a breath in, but I don't. I exhale first and then inhale, as opposed to inhale, exhale. So my lung volume goes down. Now, this, you've got about 1.5 liters of air in your lungs that you can exhale. You always keep a certain amount of air, but you get 1.5 liters that you can exhale. So exhaling is not a problem as far as lung capacity. What happens when you do this, when you exhale, is that your rib cage collapses. Your diaphragm pushes up. Your accessory muscles push in. And all these things, while you're exhaling, work together to give you a very rigid, very solid frame. When you relax normally, when you exhale normally, all this stuff is relaxed. So you get a much more rigid frame. Then as you inhale, you take a great bit, you've done the exhale and you take an inhale. Again, everything goes from being contracted one way to contracting the other way to inhale. Once you get to the point right here where you get to the normal stopping point for your inhalation exhalation, that's when you would add a second one down. You don't go back up to the top of this curve. And therefore, throughout the entire cycle, your rib cage, your diaphragm, your accessory muscles, all of that has a certain amount of tension in it, which is what we want to have when we're talking about building that cage with the tension, hips tucked under, the shoulders back. That's what we want to try and develop. So what we're going to do is a little exercise now. So when you do this breathing, what we do is we breathe out through the mouth and in through the nose. So what it looks like is you breathe out and then breathe in. And as you're doing the technique, you breathe out and breathe in. So let's do that together. Breathe out, breathe in. Breathe out, breathe in. At no time do I want to go above that line where I'm breathing in first. Now you'll hear at the end of that, you'll hear a little hissing sound. Because if you breathe out and then stop for a second to breathe in, you're breathing out. When you do that stop, you're relaxing again. So when you breathe out, what you do is you use your tongue and you close your tongue down over your mouth, covering up your mouth to stop that breath, which keeps, you've got that contraction still maintained because you're breathing against your tongue. And then at the next split second, you do the inhale, which keeps your muscles tight. So it's, and I'm pressing my tongue up against the palate, hard palate at the top of my mouth to stop that breathing. So it should have. So that's what we're going to do. Now to demonstrate that, what I'm going to do is when I do my technique, I'm not breathing at this point. As I make my technique, as I start to deliver my technique, I breathe out. And then when I get to the termination, then I breathe in. And then I have a slight period of relaxation, but it's relaxation that I initiate. So if I get to this point and I'm going to the next technique and there's no counterattack, I can relax to prepare for my next technique. So it's going to be an inhale at the strike and an exhale as soon as the strike is done. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by coming forward, doing Hadamaki. We're going to go slow. So I want you to go slow so that you can concentrate on your inhale, exhale in the technique, not at about this speed. So you're going to be here, you're going to go. Not a lot of force, just concentrating on your breathing. So make Chin B.